Canada will help the Philippines detect illegal fishing with its satellite surveillance system under a new agreement, Philippine officials said Monday. The arrangement gives the National Coast Watch Center of the Philippines access to data from Canada's Dark Vessel Detection System, which harnesses satellite technology to track illegal fishermen even if they switch off their location-transmitting devices, the Department of Foreign Affairs in Manila said. Illegal and unregulated fishing is a problem across the Philippine archipelago, including in disputed areas of the South China Sea. The Philippine Coast Guard has accused Chinese Coast Guard ships and fishing vessels of switching off their location-transmitting devices to avoid detection and surveillance. Canadian and Philippine officials signed the agreement last week on the sidelines of talks held in the Canadian capital of Ottawa to discuss ways to strengthen relations between the two countries, the Foreign Affairs Department said, without providing other details. China claims virtually the entire South China Sea on historical grounds. But this was invalidated by an arbitration tribunal ruling in 2016. China refused to participate in the arbitration sought by the Philippines, rejected the ruling as a sham, and continues to defy it. Aside from China and the Philippines, Vietnam, Malaysia, Taiwan, and Brunei have had overlapping territorial claims in the South China Sea, which straddles one of the world's busiest sea lanes. Canada is among several Western countries that have recognized the 2016 arbitration ruling and called on countries, including China, to respect it. China's Coast Guard expelled Japanese ships from the contested Senkaku, Diaoyu Islands in the East China Sea. China's Coast Guard stepped up patrols around Japan last December, following the Japanese government's release of 3 security documents calling China the greatest strategic challenge in the region. The Asia Maritime Transparency Initiative, AMTI, a project of the Center for Strategic and International Studies, a Washington, D.C. think tank, released a report calling China's Coast Guard presence in the South China Sea more robust than ever. That presence, AMTI says, is aimed at helping Beijing assert its sweeping claims to most of the South China Sea. China's Coast Guard patrols show Beijing's determination to assert control over the vast maritime zone within its claimed 9-dash line. In accordance with China's domestic law and international law, including UNCLOS, the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, China Coast Guard ships conduct patrol and management in waters under China's jurisdiction to maintain maritime order and protect China's legitimate and lawful rights and interests, Mao said. Beijing has consistently ignored a key international court ruling and the UN Law of the Sea, which outlines the territorial waters of China's neighbors. The Chinese Coast Guard routinely engages in malign activities in the Western Pacific Ocean and beyond to assert China's claims to territory and natural resources. For its report, AMTI analyzed data from a system that automatically tracks the movements of ships and found that China's Coast Guard had conducted near-daily patrols at key features across the South China Sea in 2022. Those patrols covered several disputed maritime features, including Scarborough Shoal, 220 kilometers east of the Philippines island of Luzon, where China's Coast Guard maintains a blockade. That blockade has denied small-scale Philippines fishermen their fishing rights in the area, in violation of an international court ruling. China's Coast Guard has blocked and used water cannons against Philippine resupply ships headed to another feature, the Second Thomas Ayungin Shoal, which falls within the Philippines' exclusive economic zone. Exclusive economic zones are recognized in the UN Law of the Sea as the 200 nautical mile stretch of sea from the coast of a state. The Philippines initiated a claim against China at the Permanent Court of Arbitration, The Hague, stating that China's sweeping claims denied the Philippines its own historic rights in the South China Sea. The International Court largely found in the Philippines' favor, reaffirming the right of states to operate within their exclusive economic zones. The Philippines protested what it called the Chinese Coast Guard's harassment of a Taiwanese ship with Filipino scientists carrying out research in the South China Sea. The Philippines has lodged more than 300 diplomatic protests against Beijing's actions in the South China Sea.